Did you think my kiss was a promise of what you'll have? No, my pompous one. It was to let you know what you will not have. I could never love you.
Baxter died today in a New York hospital at 62. She'd suffered a stroke 8 days before.
You will be king of Egypt.
Anne Baxter's daughter has revealed the dark truth. Anne Baxter was a distinguished actress, known for her remarkable talent, captivating beauty, and unforgettable roles. Emerging in the 1940s, she enchanted audiences with her powerful performances, earning critical acclaim and a lasting legacy in Hollywood. Her on-screen presence, characterized by a mesmerizing blend of elegance and intensity, left an indelible mark on the film industry. But if her persona was so enchanting, why would her daughter have anything bad to say? Well, you are in for a ride. If you are a fan of Anne Baxter, you are about to hear the truth. But before her daughter unveils the dark truth, we have to find out who Anne Baxter truly was. Early life and Hollywood beginnings. Born in 1923, Anne Baxter stepped into a world of subtle prominence. Her lineage itself was witness to her art and creativity, with her grandfather being none other than the revered architect Frank Lloyd Wright. Growing up, Anne would be surrounded by the intricate designs and larger-than-life blueprints of Wright's creations. It's quite fascinating to think that the same walls that echoed the genius of architectural design would nurture a budding Hollywood starlet. Anne's younger years were colored by the influence of her family's stature and the rich experiences that it offered. The world of art and performance was not unfamiliar to her, all thanks to the theater outings and art showcases that she was frequently part of. These early interactions with the world of drama and acting would foster in her a passion for the stage. One can only wonder if the artistic blood of her grandfather had coursed through her own veins, manifesting not in structures of brick and mortar, but in performances and dramatic expressions. By the tender age of 5, she had already set foot on the stage, embracing the spotlight in a school play. This early exposure was perhaps a sign of the bigger stages that she was destined to conquer. Her talent and zeal for acting only intensified as the years went by, and soon the bright lights of Broadway would beckon. In her teens, she would make her mark with the play Seen But Not Heard. The grandeur of Broadway and its audience's response solidified Anne's belief in her chosen path. However, as is often the case with life and the limelight, her journey was not without its share of bumps. The shadow of an ever-sour experience with the formidable Katharine Hepburn had loomed large over her theater days. Working as Hepburn's understudy for The Philadelphia Story, a clash of personalities and acting styles led to Anne's unceremonious exit from the production. Hepburn, an established name within her own acting nuances, had found Anne's style not to her liking. This unexpected twist, rather than being a setback, had become a redirection for Anne. Perhaps the silver screens of Hollywood, she thought, may be more forgiving and receptive to her talent. With this newfound determination, Anne had set her sights on the glittering world of Hollywood. Her instinct could not have been more accurate. Upon her arrival, she caught the attention of Hollywood bigwigs, and by the age of 15, she would be signed with 20th Century Fox. Her cinematic debut, however, would come with MGM, courtesy of a loan agreement between the two studios, and had graced the big screen for the first time in the 1940 film 20 Mule Team. That's when she secured the 4th billing in what turned out to be a moderate success. Anne's rising stardom, in a world where countless aspirants dream of stardom, only few will achieve the rarefied air of true Hollywood success. And Anne Baxter, with her early foundations firmly set, began her climb to such heights, navigating the intricate labyrinths of Hollywood with grace and tenacity. With MGM serving as her entry point into Hollywood's gleaming arena, Anne's debut in 20 Mule Team proved to be a stepping stone. The film was a moderate success, but more importantly, it offered a stage for Anne to shine, catching the attention of producers and directors alike. Hollywood, ever the place of flux, had other plans for her journey. Soon after joining 20th Century Fox, the twist of studio agreement saw her being loaned out again. This move while seemingly a detour, had actually expanded her horizons, giving her exposure to a variety of roles and filmmakers. One of the most pivotal milestones during that phase would be her association with RKO Pictures, that led to a role in Orson Welles' magnum opus, The Magnificent Ambersons. Collaborating with a genius like Welles on such a significant project had showcased Anne's talent to a wider audience and critics alike. The subsequent year brought another feather in her cap as she starred in her very first Technicolor film, Crash Dive, where she dazzled as the leading lady. It's important to pause and consider the era during which Anne's stardom was ascending. As the dark clouds of World War II would gather, Hollywood was playing a unique role, offering solace, hope, and escape, with a touch of glamour in an otherwise bleak world. The war years, paradoxically, became the golden years for many in the entertainment industry, with movies being such a major source of escapism for both soldiers abroad and their families at home. For Anne, this period would be a whirlwind of opportunity and recognition. In 1944, a series of roles would come her way, where she was not only receiving top billing, but also leaving a great mark with her performances. Films like The North Star and Sunday Dinner for a Soldier had showcased her versatility and range. It's also delightful, albeit humorous, to note that Anne had claimed that the only actress who was receiving more fan letters from soldiers than her during World War II was Betty Grable. If that doesn't paint a vivid picture of her soaring popularity, I don't know what does. Yet, as every actor knows, commercial success and critical acclaim are two different benchmarks. While Anne's commercial stardom was undeniable, her prowess as a serious actress awaited acknowledgement. The mid-1940s would bring validation. The turn of events leading to her Academy Award win for Best Supporting Actress in the 1946 film The Razor's Edge had marked her transition from a commercial star to a respected dramatic actress. The big win, and the decade that followed, winning an Academy Award, can serve as both the apex and a pivot in an actor's career. And for Anne Baxter, her win for The Razor's Edge was a little bit of both. While the glittering statuette recognized the sheer brilliance that she brought to the screen, it had also served as a watershed moment, guiding her towards roles that demanded depth and intensity that was fit for winning an Oscar. The Razor's Edge, based on the novel of the same name, required Anne to deliver a performance replete with nuance and layered emotion as Sophie MacDonald, a character tormented by tragedy and spiraling into self-destruction. She had showcased a depth that took both audiences and critics by surprise. Her portrayal was heart-wrenching, and the Academy's nod was a true example of her evolution as a serious dramatic actress. While an Oscar win can be the culmination of one's efforts, for her, it would only be the beginning. The post-Oscar decade was a kaleidoscope of roles, each distinct and challenging. The 1950s, often seen as Hollywood's bridge between its golden age and a more modern cinematic narrative, offered her roles that were both iconic and introspective. One such role would be that of Eve Harrington in All About Eve. Though Anne was already an Academy Award winner by that time, the movie brought forth a performance that many would argue overshadowed even her own Oscar-winning act. Eve Harrington's ambition, masked under a veneer of innocence, would showcase her ability to bring forth the complexities of human nature. The film, a critical and commercial success, fetched her another Academy Award nomination, solidifying her stature in Hollywood's pantheon. However, Hollywood, with its penchant for unpredictability, had more cards up its sleeves for Anne. In the midst of roles that demanded gravity, there was one that would require regality: Queen Nefertari in The Ten Commandments. As the mid-1950s approached, she found herself at a crossroads, both from a personal and professional standpoint. They offered to work with Cecil B. DeMille, a director that she had admired for years, on such an epic scale was temptatious. However, there were reservations. Would she be the right fit for the Egyptian queen? How would the role align with the dramatic spaces she had so carefully carved out for herself? It's said that actors will often seek challenges. And for Anne, the Ten Commandments was precisely that. While her previous roles had banked on intense emotional arcs, Nefertari had demanded a balance of poise, power, and aura. The movie, with its grand sets, intricate narratives, and star-studded cast, was a strong departure from her more introspective roles, offering her a canvas to paint a character both historic and dramatic. The role of a lifetime, Queen Nefertari. Every actor, no matter how illustrious their career, often has that one role that becomes their defining moment, a beacon that illuminates their legacy in the vast cinematic universe. And for Anne Baxter, that role would be Queen Nefertari in The Ten Commandments. It was a part that required not only an understanding of the character, but also an amalgamation of grandeur, allure, and gravitas. Yet the journey to becoming the queen was not without its uncertainties. When Anne would be approached for the role, her initial reactions were mixed. Excitement, undoubtedly, at the prospect of working on such a grand-scale project, with none other than Cecil B. DeMille at the helm. But along with that thrill, there were reservations. Her striking Irish features, she felt, may not align with the character's Egyptian essence. It was a valid concern, given the meticulous detailing that DeMille was known for. Would she be able to actually portray an Egyptian queen in a convincing manner? And would the audience accept her in this avatar? Yet, where Anne saw potential incongruence, DeMille saw the magic. His vision of the queen was not only restricted to physicality, but was more about the aura, the presence, and the grandeur. And in Anne, he had seen those attributes waiting to be channeled into this historic epic. Accepting the role was a leap of faith for Anne, trusting DeMille's vision and challenging herself to step into uncharted territory. The metamorphic empress of Anne into Nefertari was not only about costumes and makeup, but also required an internal shift, an understanding of the world that the queen inhabited, her motivations, desires, and strengths. And as the shooting would make progress, any reservations that she had melted away, replaced by the majestic queen's confident stride and commanding presence. The Ten Commandments, with its grand narrative, epic scale, and intricate characters, was a cinematic marvel of its time and in the history of storytelling. Nefertari shone brightly, adding a layer of depth and charisma. Anne's portrayal was both powerful and impactful, making Queen Nefertari one of the most memorable characters in cinematic history. Audiences would be mesmerized not only by the story, but the characters that breathed life into it. And at the heart of it all was Nefertari, with Anne Baxter masterfully weaving a performance that was both magnetic and memorable. The scandalous outfit and censorship surprises. Now, every epic of cinema has its own talk of the town moment, where the character isn't just about the performance, but sometimes the more visual aspects. When Anne Baxter donned the garb of Queen Nefertari, she had not only stepped into the character's shoes, but also into outfits that had audiences slightly agog and quite intrigued. The 1950s were not exactly known for risque fashion choices in cinema, especially when compared to today's standards. But the Ten Commandments threw a curveball. Nefertari's attire, designed to mirror the grandeur and allure of the Egyptian queen, had seemed to reveal just a tad more than the audience was ready for. With gowns that gracefully flowed, yet teasingly clung, the outfit became as much a subject of discussion as Anne's performance itself. It's amusing to think of the 1956 audience adjusting their moral and fans, trying to get a more clear view, or perhaps to fan themselves down. Either way, the silver screen had never been more hot, and Anne's costume was not only about the outer garment. The tale beneath the outfit, quite literally, was as intriguing. To ensure the queen's ensemble remained decent, or at least would pass the stringent censor boards, she sported skin-colored underwear. This little piece of trivia adds a delightful layer to the entire narrative. Here was an actress fully aware of the potential reveals that her costume may cause, taking matters into her own hands, or in this case, under her garments, to ensure that everything remained PG. One cannot help but chuckle, imagining her in all of her regal aura, having a quick sidebar with the costume department about the strategic importance of her undergarments. Yet, despite all the precautions, the rumor mill began churning. There were whispers, and then discussions, and then full-blown debate. Did the audience actually catch a glimpse of Anne's actual nipples in certain scenes? Gutter-minded film historians and keen-eyed moviegoers went into a frenzy, playing detective. The debates grew so widespread that one could argue they deserved a film of their own, perhaps entitled The Great Nipple Mystery of 1956. But all jokes aside, the entire hullabaloo around her costume choices and the supposed reveals had overshadowed, albeit momentarily, her actual performance. In a strange twist, it also solidified the movie's place in history. It wasn't only a religious epic, it became a cultural talking point, an exploration of the boundaries of on-screen decency and the evolving sensibilities of the audience. Queen Nefertari versus Anne's personal beliefs. The life of an actor is a peculiar blending of self and character, and at times the line between the two can blur, creating a mosaic of beliefs, performances, and perceptions. For Anne Baxter, stepping into the sandals of Queen Nefertari was a journey that was marked with personal introspection and moments of disconnect. While the world had seen the Queen in all of her splendor, behind that veil, and had grappled with a dichotomy of emotion and beliefs about her portrayal, to begin with, her relationship with renowned director Cecil B. DeMille was one of immense respect. Having admired him for years, the opportunity to work under his direction was a dream come true. However, dreams, when realized, do not always match the idealic visions that one has painted. And DeMille's style, while grandiose and detailed, came off as campy to Anne. For someone who had prided herself on her ability to get deep into a character, to bring out the nuances and subtleties, DeMille's direction seemed to lean more towards the external flair rather than the internal depth. Anne's portrayal of the Queen was more than just a character, it was a showcase of her versatility as an actress. Yet her personal views had often conflicted with DeMille's vision, and felt that the emphasis on grandeur would sometimes overshadow the essence of the Queen, reducing her to only her regalia and allure rather than exploring the depth of the character. The dazzling sets, the costumes, the grand epic scale, and it all sometimes felt like a double-edged sword, offering cinematic magnificence, but at the expense of character growth. Furthermore, an introspective assessment of her own performance, tinged with her harshest critiques, was different from the audience's reception. While the world applauded Queen Nefertari, hailed her as one of the cinematic masterpieces of the age, and was her own stern critic, did she do justice to the Queen? Was her portrayal overshadowed by the opulence around her? These were some of the questions that plagued her, causing a chasm between the world's perception and her own self-evaluation. In many ways, Anne's experience as Nefertari mirrors the journey that many artists go through. The conflict between personal beliefs and the demands of the craft, between self-perception and audience reception, is a dance that every artist is all too familiar with. Anne's introspections on her role reflect this very dance, where she navigated the tightrope between staying true to her understanding of Nefertari and aligning with DeMille's vision. Beyond the silver screen, Anne's TV legacy. While the luminous glimmer of Hollywood's silver screen had long been Anne Baxter's realm, as the decade turned to the 1960s, the petite screen had beckoned, just as she had in film, and ventured into the world of television with grace, leaving an obvious impact with roles that ranged from the engaging to the endearing. The 1960s was a transformative period for television. Shows became more daring, narratives more intricate, and the character arcs more profound. And Anne, with her versatility and rich cinematic background, was a natural fit. Though she had firmly etched her place in Hollywood, the allure of television storytelling had drawn her in, offering a different pace, intimacy with the audience. And Anne was all in. One of her most notable appearances was in the series Batman, a show that, with its quirky characters and unique narrative style, was a hit amongst audiences. With its comic undertones and vivid characters, it was a strong departure from the intense roles that she would be known for. Yet, she embraced the challenge, adding her touch of magic to the series. The Alfred Hitchcock Hour presented a different challenge. Here was a series that had prided itself on suspense, intrigue, and narratives that kept the audience on the edge of their seats. Hitchcock, a master of suspense, had demanded performances that matched his vision, and Anne, with her ability to embody her characters, would be a perfect fit. Her appearances on the show had added layers of depth and mystery, showcasing her range as an actress. And as the decade made progress, she continued to grace television screens. Roles in series like My Three Sons would further solidify her legacy beyond film. Her ability to adapt to the changing narration styles of television, to embrace characters that were as varied as they were complex, was a great example of her prowess as an actress. Tragically, Hotel would mark the ending of her illustrious career as Victoria Cabot. She graced television screens until her untimely death in 1985. Yet even in her final role, her passion, dedication, and commitment to her craft had shone through. A peek into Anne's personal life. Behind the glitz and glamour of stardom lies a realm often less explored, the personal life of the artist. For Anne Baxter, the journey off the screen was as rich and varied as her cinematic adventures. Beyond the lights and camera, her life would be a mixture of love, heartbreak, joy, and challenge, each thread weaving a tale as compelling as her on-screen performances. Born into a family with a legacy of its own, she had prominence in her genes. Her grandfather, the legendary architect Frank Lloyd Wright, had cast long shadows of creativity and brilliance. Growing up in the glow of such genius, it was perhaps preordained that she would seek a realm where she could carve out her own niche. But while her professional journey was in the public eye, her personal journey was dotted with moments both intimate and profound. Anne's romantic life, like the roles that she portrayed, was layered and intricate. She was married 3 times, each relationship adding a chapter to her life story. Her first husband entered her life in the mid-1940s, and together they navigated the challenges of stardom, love, and commitment. Their union would be blessed with a daughter. As the years went by, the marriage would eventually come to an end. Yet the bond she shared with her daughter remained unbreakable. Her subsequent marriages to John Hodiak and Randolph Galt would bring both joy and heartache, each leaving an indelible mark on her life. Yet through it all, Anne remained a devoted mother, her love for her daughter a constant amidst the ebb and flow of her romantic entanglements. As the curtain closed on her life in 1985, it was not only the legacy of Queen Nefertari that remained, but the indelible mark she had left on the world of cinema, a testament to her talent, her tenacity, and the enduring allure of Anne Baxter, a beacon of joy in their shared journey. However, like many Hollywood tales, their love story would be short-lived, and the couple parted ways in 1953. But the end of one chapter often heralds the beginning of another. As the 1960s came into view, Anne found love once again with Randolph Galt, a man far removed from the glitzy world of Hollywood. His real life revolved around cattle, bringing a sense of groundedness to Anne's life. Together, they welcomed 2 children, adding to Anne's joys of motherhood. But once again, fate had other plans, and they would break free in 1969. Love, they say, does not knock once, and for Anne, it came calling again in the form of David Klee, a stockbroker. Their marriage, however, was tragically short-lived. In a twist that seemed straight out of a movie, David's sudden death in 1977 left her bereft, marking an end to her marital journey. While her relationships were marked by highs and lows, her role as a mother was constant through the ebb and flow of life. Her children remained her anchor, providing solace in moments of solitude and joy in times of celebration. Her personal journey was not only about relationships, it was about self-discovery. Behind the actress was a woman coming to terms with the challenges that life threw at her, from the pressures of stardom to the heartbreaks of lost love. Yet through it all, her spirit remained. She faced every challenge head-on, finding strength in her vulnerabilities and grace in adversity, legacy and lasting impact. The annals of Hollywood are adorned with stars who have shone brightly, yet few have managed to leave a legacy that stands the test of time. Anne Baxter, with her multifaceted talent and spirit, carved a niche that has ensured her eternal place in cinematic history. To understand the magnitude of her legacy, one has to venture into the heart of her performances. From the dramatic to the sublime, the powerful to the vulnerable, she encompassed a range that few could rival. Every character that she embraced was imbued with a soul and a depth that made them come alive on the screen. Whether it was the enchanting Eve Harrington or Queen Nefertari, her portrayals were not mere performances. They were actual experiences. Her success was not a mere happenstance. Her commitment to the craft, her meticulous attention to detail, and her relentless pursuit of perfection set her apart. Even in roles that may have been overshadowed by grandeur or opulence, she made her presence felt, creating memorable moments that lingered long after the curtains fell. But what is it that truly defines Anne Baxter's legacy? Is it the awards and accolades, her Academy Award win for The Razor's Edge, or the subsequent nominations? They're all a remarkable example of her talent. Could it be the box office successes, films like The Ten Commandments, that not only scaled commercial heights, but also became cultural touchstones? Undoubtedly, they add to her legacy. Perhaps the true essence of her long-lasting impact lies in the intangibles. It's in the inspiration that she's provided to countless actresses who have come after her, showcasing that versatility can be the hallmark of true talent. It's in the barriers that she broke, proving that an actress could be both a commercial success and a critically acclaimed performer. And most importantly, it's in the memories that she etched in the hearts of audiences worldwide, giving them moments of joy, sorrow, introspection, and elation. Her journey in Hollywood was not only about personal milestones. Her career spanned eras that saw seismic shifts in the industry. From the golden age of Hollywood to the advent of television, she had navigated these changes with grace, adapting and evolving, yet retaining that essence that had made her unique. Her adaptability, the ability to remain relevant across decades, is a reminder of her timeless appeal. And beyond her cinematic endeavors, her foray into television further cemented her legacy. Batman, Hotel, and others had showcased her range, proving that she was not confined to the big screen. And in every role, whether it be film or television, she brought a touch of Anne, a commitment, a passion, and an authenticity that resonated with audiences of all ages.